Welcome to another episode of Preparing for the Unexpected. I'm your host, Alex Fullick, and we're recording live today. There was a few things I wanted to talk about today. Because I just saw a survey results that came out in Canada that said 53% of employees, if they're mandated to go back to the office, will quit on the spot. Another big chunk said they will go back to the office, but immediately start looking for a new job. And the rest, which I think was only about 25% or less, would say they would just put up with it and go back to the office because that's what their managers or their company wants. So there are some things I don't think corporate leadership really understand and have captured. For they seem to have forgotten that they were in the same boat as all their employees, and it's almost like an us and them. And for the most part, management and employees, it's always been an us and them. But the pandemic proved that it's not us and them. It is really all of us. It's we. We've all gone through the same thing. We've been isolated for over 2 years to some degree, either to our homes or at least our neighborhoods, with the odd grocery store trip, and that'll be about it. So we're not used to being around a lot of people anymore. We're kind of socially awkward for a while, and it takes a while to get back into being able to get out there and be around all these different kinds of people and learn about them again and learn how to interact and communicate with them. And I think some leaders have forgotten that when all these people who are socially awkward and to some degree is also frustrated because of what they've gone through with COVID, being at home and not having access to friends and colleagues and things like that, and family members, we're going to pull them all back and throw them back into the office environment. I don't think that's really good. You've got all these people that are frustrated, angry, considering other events that are going on in the world right now, wars and continuing strains being found with COVID and, you know, everyday life that people have to contend to and deal with. Now we're going to throw them back in the office. So I'm curious to see how people are going to behave when they're in the office. There used to be times now over the last 2 years where we could be in meetings, online meetings, of course. And if we didn't like what someone said, we could just put ourselves on mute and say what we want to say and then unmute ourselves. Because the many meetings I've been on, people don't show their faces anyway. It's just, either an emoji or their initials or just a blank screen with their name on it in a circle or a square or something like that. But now we're going to throw all these people in the office into a meeting room and where people have been used to saying what they want to say for the last little while suddenly are not going to have that mechanism to, uh, not let other people hear what they were thinking. Someone said something stupid. I put myself on mute and go, "Oh, you're an idiot. You're what a moron. How could you say that?" And then unmute. Okay. Yeah, that sounds good. And continue on with the meeting. So that's not going to happen now. That's going to be taken away. We've also got people that are going to be brought back to the office who were thriving at home. They were doing better working from home than they ever did in an office environment with people sticking their heads over uh, the cubicle wall or just walking by, causing a distraction, talking too loud, at the desk beside them, those kind of things. They did great at home because they didn't have those distractions. And now you're going to put them back in an environment with those distractions, and they're not going to be happy. And this goes for all levels, by the way. It's not just management and leadership. Everybody was impacted by COVID. Our friends, colleagues, neighbors, family, all of us were hit on some level. People that were the highest in the companies suddenly became homeschool teachers. And now we're going to bring all these people back, all their frustrations that they built up, and we're going to throw them back in the office. We're going to tell people to come back into the office. And what about those people that had to go into the office no matter what, or the office environment, the work environment? Let's say they worked on a manufacturing floor or something, a hospital or something where they couldn't do things from home. Now, all of a sudden, you're bringing all these other people back, and it's, oh, look, they're back. They must feel safe. Meanwhile, I've been working my tail off, on the manufacturing floor for the last 2 years, and no real recognition for it. And these other people get to come marching all back in, with celebrations and pizza lunches and who knows what else. So that's not going to go over well with some other people. Then there's a couple of other little bits here I just wanted to bring forward. I think the even though some leadership and organizations try to think progressively, we're agile in approach, and yeah, we can do our jobs anywhere we want. That's fantastic. However, the old school thinking hasn't changed, where they have to see you to know that you're working. If they can't see you, they don't know you're working. But the last 2 years have proven that people have been working. Companies are still profitable. There's been more productivity. And yes, there are some arguments about that, that people have been online longer, working harder. I won't go down that route because that's a different topic, or can be a topic in itself, put it that way. But that old style of thinking, if I can't see you, you're not working, now is coming back into the mind frame of leadership. Well, let's bring everybody in. We've got these offices, so we got to see everybody, make sure everyone's doing it, and making sure everyone is happy, and mental health and well-being. Well, not everyone's happiness, mental health, and well-being is connected to the office and the workplace. If they're at home working and they're happy, their well-being is better, why force people back into the office? Why give them mandates? Why say you have to be in by a certain date? In 4 weeks' time, we expect you back in the office. Why? There's no reason for it outside of I have to see you. And then on the other side of your mouth, you're saying mental health and well being is important to our families and our friends, our employees, and their families and friends. However, you still have to come back into the office. It's contradictory, isn't it? Doesn't make sense. So I'm curious to see what's going to happen in the next couple of months as offices start bringing people back into the office. And let's face it, some organizations are starting to get rid of their offices anyway because they realize they don't need them. So why bring everybody in? Let them stay at home if they're working, or give them the choice. We're going to cut our office size down to half. We'll turn everything into hoteling stations so that if you want to come into the office, either to print some documentation, have a key meeting with a client or a partner, or with your boss, whatever the case may be, you can come in, rent a desk for the day or secure a desk for the day, and there you go. And the rest of the time, work at home if you're still getting things done. That's not so bad. But just because you have all this floor space and you need to fill it up because you think if you can't see them, nobody's working, that's kind of silly. That makes no sense. You're setting yourselves up for failure, and you're setting employees up for situations where there's going to be anger. There's going to be people coming from different directions, different experiences through the global pandemic, and they're going to start getting those frustrations out with their managers, with their colleagues. What if they find out that they went through COVID and lost a family member, and it's taken a long time to get over it. Now they're back in the office place, and all these stories are coming out, and they're reliving that trauma again. Well, now you're back to people who are socially awkward, people that aren't happy about being around other groups, that don't want to talk about this stuff. But that's going to be one of the biggest topics around the water cooler, in the coffee room, the break room, whatever you've got in your office. That's what people are going to start talking about. What have you been doing? Where have you been going? There will be people who haven't seen each other or talked to each other because the only time they ever did see each other was in the coffee room. And now they could come and face to face and find out that one of them lost a colleague, lost a family member, were sick themselves, and then talking to this other person that they only ever see in the break room, didn't like mandates, didn't like wearing a mask, thought the whole thing was stupid. Now we could be setting something up for an office environment of full of frustration and anger and hostility. And these are the things I don't think leadership and management are thinking about, or human resources, or your pandemic committee, whoever or whatever the makeup is of that. I don't think they're really taking it into account. And I think a lot of people are going to have to open their eyes. It's more than just, I need to see you. Come back into the office because that's the way we've always done it. Well, that's not true anymore. It's not the way you've always done it because the last 2+ years, that's not the way you did it. And it still works. You're still there, hopefully doing better, stronger business, supply chain management issues, and some other incidents going on in the world right now aside. You're still in business. You're still working. You still have your employees. And what about those employees, by the way, just as I was thinking here, that have been hired that have never even been in your office? They could have been hired a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago. 2 years, they've never been in the office. Why do they want to go now? They don't know anybody there. They don't want to know anybody there. And everybody they do know, they talk to online anyway, either on the phone or through social media connections and applications, email. I don't want to go to the office. Figure all of a sudden you're going to change the way that I'm working and how I behave and my interactions. I don't want to go. I don't want to spend an hour or 2 hours every morning and afternoon commuting back and forth to the office when I've got an extra hour for myself in the morning to take a dog for a longer walk, go to the gym, practice guitar, write a new book, whatever the case may be. People aren't going to accept that. So I think leadership and management really need to consider some of these different perspectives. It's not simply just bring everybody back thinking that it's for everybody when it's just being done for themselves, for leadership, because they want to see everybody. I think we're in for some shocks over the coming months as to what happens. And some organizations are going to get it right, and some are going to get it wrong. In the meantime, stay prepared, everybody.